You may have seen earlier today that the French Senate, the upper house of the French Parliament, recognized Artsakh in an overwhelming vote of 305 to 1. That was an initiative strongly supported by the Armenian community in France, by our counterparts, the Armenian National Committee of France, that's called the Committee for the Defense of the Armenian Cause. So we were very encouraged by the vote in the French Senate, the upper house of the French Parliament, recognizing Artsakh and calling upon the President of the French Republic to do so as well. We were encouraged by this because France is one of the three co-chair countries of the OSCE Minsk Group, along with the United States and Russia. We here in the United States would like to see similar action by our executive branch, which is in transition at the moment, and our legislative branch, our Congress, our Senate, and our House of Representatives. You can by going to the link on this video. It's anca.org/recognize Artsakh. And with really just a couple of clicks, you can send a letter to your U.S. representative, to your 2 U.S. senators, to Donald Trump, and also to Joe Biden. And in each of those letters, you'll make the case for U.S. recognition of Artsakh. Now, there is certainly a strong historical case to be made for Artsakh's independence, for Artsakh's independent status, going back thousands of years. Our historical presence, our Christian heritage, our cultural presence across the Artsakh landscape is evident for all the world to see, and the historical case is a solid one. There's also a very, very powerful legal argument to be made for Artsakh's independence. The fact that Artsakh was never part of an independent Azerbaijan, the fact that Artsakh followed all the governing laws at the time of its secession and left the Republic, the Soviet Republic, basically at the same time as the Azerbaijanis did, and has every much as much claim to independence as does Azerbaijan. In fact, the only claim that Azerbaijan has to Artsakh, besides its military claim, is the fact that Joseph Stalin stole it for them back in the 1920s. So what you can do is by visiting the link on that's the title of this video, you can send that letter, as I mentioned, to the White House, to Joe Biden, to your U.S. representative and your 2 U.S. senators. The letter goes through a whole range of points that are important to make with these elected officials. But I do want to read to you just one section of the letter that you'll be sending, and to help you understand the gravity of the situation. This is not simply a historical issue looking back. It's not simply a legal issue where we're trying to check the right boxes. This is a question of survival. This is now, as they say, the knife has hit the bone, and we need recognition of Artsakh. We need recognition, global recognition, U.S., French, Russian, global recognition of Artsakh's independence as a question of survival. So let me read to you what the letter would say, and I hope that you'll sign it tonight. It says here, in the wake of weeks of relentless Azerbaijani war crimes, it is brutally clear that Artsakh's independence is urgently required as an emergency remedial action for the very survival of the indigenous Christian population of this ancient Armenian land. The French Senate took this step with a 305 to 1 vote on November 25th, earlier today. Please call upon the United States to do the same before it is too late. And it's true. Time is of the essence. We are working against a whole range of terms and timelines that are being enforced upon Armenia by essentially Turkey and Azerbaijan in a deal that Russia cut with Ankara without the participation of either the U.S. or the French co-chairs. So time is of the essence. We very much welcomed the French measure adopted today. It's a meaningful step in the right direction, but the United States needs to move in that direction as well on recognition. Also, in terms of humanitarian aid, a package of at least $250 million emergency aid to help resettle Armenians safely and sustainably back in Artsakh, and a whole range of other assistance initiatives that we're pursuing. We're also obviously pushing for that re-engagement, which I discussed, the U.S. re-engaging in the OSCE Minsk process, signaling to Russia and Turkey that the French and the Americans also have an important role to play here and will not be excluded from this process. And then finally, the ANCA is very committed to a deterrence strategy because Azerbaijan has already broken 3 ceasefires. We don't know what the future holds. We need to hold Baku accountable by cutting off all U.S. military aid to Azerbaijan, by enforcing Section 907, and certainly denying any export licenses to Turkey or Azerbaijan. We know, for example, very, very profoundly troubling as Americans, that U.S. parts, technology, components were found in Turkish drones that were used by Azerbaijan to kill Armenian civilians. Those are from companies like Xilinx and Garmin, Viasat, and others. Some have publicly responded to our initiatives by stopping, suspending, or investigating the presence of their parts and technology in these weapons of war that were used to kill Armenians. But they need to be held accountable. These are American firms. They profit from U.S. laws, but they're also held accountable by U.S. laws. So that's another strategy as well. We need to be active on all of these fronts: on the recognition front, on the humanitarian aid front, on the re-engagement front, the deterrence activities that I just mentioned, and also finally in terms of preserving and protecting the Armenian cultural heritage in territories that are now controlled by the Azerbaijani military. There's a whole range of initiatives. The ANC is active on every one of them. But our request to you this evening, on the eve of Thanksgiving, when we are all count our blessings, even amid these terrible and disastrous developments in our homeland, it's urgent that you draw the energy of the French vote, that you then give that energy back into our U.S. political system as a voter, as a constituent, as a resident of your district, of your state. It's vital that you weigh in today. Write to your U.S. representative, write to your U.S. senators, write to Donald Trump and Joe Biden, making the argument for U.S. recognition of Artsakh, U.S. recognition of Artsakh, not simply for historical reasons, although those are important, not purely on legal grounds, although those grounds certainly are very solid, but ultimately and most urgently, because recognition represents an emergency remedial step by the international community to ensure the actual physical survival of Artsakh and the presence of indigenous Armenians on this ancient land. So please take action today at anca.org/recognize Artsakh. anca.org/recognize Artsakh. Thank you.